Hello, it's book review time again, and since I'm reviewing two rather strange books, I thought I'd add a little unusual effect just for fun. Now, I hope you're not on any drugs, because if you are, the effect is going to be greatly intensified, and I don't want you to go on a bad trip. As for me, I don't need drugs to be unusual. All I've got to do is to read some strange books, put on a weird visual effect like this, and be myself. Actually, I don't even need to read strange books and put on weird visual effects to be weird. But that's just me. It's a rare gift. Anyway, I'm talking to you tonight about an author named Tim Dorsey. He is from Florida, and he might be Florida's strangest author. He is quite an original man, I must say. The first book I want to talk about is Orange Crush, and this book is about Florida politics. Now, you may remember the election of the year 2000, the presidential election in America, between George Bush and Al Gore, and the strangeness going on with all the hanging chads, little bits of paper that were hanging from the ballots, and all manner of weird goings on. And that was not even fiction, that was the real life Florida politics. Well, this is even stranger. This is a government race, and the governor is running for re-election, and he's at first a terrible man, just in politics for all the wrong reasons. But he goes off to war, and he meets some constituents in his state, people he had always looked down upon, but now fighting beside them. He's had a change of heart, and definitely a changed man, and runs a rather unorthodox campaign through Florida. He buys a Winnebago with the words Orange Crush painted on the side, hence the title, and he himself is not the most amusing character. He's sort of the glue that holds the story together, but all the other characters are spinning out of control and are rather nuts. One of his assistants is a man who's a very good person, but he's got amnesia, so he's having a bit of a tough time. But a wonderful human being otherwise. And the other assistant is sort of like the devil. He's very similar to the Atwater in many ways, a typical Richard Nixon era dirty trickster, pulling all kinds of shenanigans, trying to sabotage the rival candidate. And so you've got all kind of humorous goings on between these two characters, but that's just tip of the iceberg. There are all manner of weirdness going on in this story. There's various assassinations and other killings in the wake of this governor's campaign. Many people out to trying to kill him for various ways. Some don't like the changes that he's made. And so you've got lots of sales of huge sniper rifles going on and people using them. So yeah, it does get a bit dicey, a bit violent, but compared to what's on television these days, this story is actually fairly tame in some ways. And also a very, very funny read. I don't want to spoil it more than that though, so just take my word for it. I hope you will. The other book ups the offensiveness level somewhat, and it's a stranger book even than Orange Crush. And this book right here, I just dropped it. Triggerfish Twist. You like the fishy there, right? Watch his mouth open and close. Very nice. Okay. Triggerfish Twist is set in Tampa Bay, Florida. And it's, I would guess, a fairly typical neighborhood, perhaps. I wrote to a man I bought some saxophone supplies from and asked him if Tim Dorsey's books were all realistic in their portrayal of Florida life. And he said, surprisingly, it was somewhat accurate. So anyway, Triggerfish Lane is a street populated by all kinds of interesting people. There's one family who's fairly normal, actually. They're just trying to get by and get through life. But the other characters are quite strange. There's one man who just, his main obsession is taking care of his lawn, and he goes to extreme lengths to do so. And, pardon me, my eye's a bit itchy. There is a house full of burned out college students, constantly stoned. You've got a house of Rastafarians who are not on drugs at all, no pot even. There is a very poor man masquerading as a very wealthy man who does so in creative ways. And then there's the recurring character Surge A. Storms. Now, some of you may have seen the TV show Dexter. I've not seen it, but I've heard about it. So I've heard it's about a rather strange and humorous serial killer named Dexter. And I think that character might have actually been based on Sir J. Storms, because Sir J. Storms was written about first by Mr. Dorsey. And he bumps off people in very, very creative ways. It's part of the humor, yes. Some of the humor is rather morbid, but it's quite funny. The way he does away with certain people. And all the people that he bumps off, you kind of hope that someone is out taking out the trash, so to speak. These are very bad people. And I'm not justifying murder, of course, but these people, you don't really feel very sorry for them. You really don't. They're hideous. So anyway, the book is about the meeting of all these characters on this one street and all their different lives. And there are other characters I have not even mentioned yet, because, I don't want to spoil the story for you. But in this one, the plot is very hard to describe, because it's not so much a linear plot. It's various vignettes of all these various characters here and there, and their lives, their crazy lives, and things that do tie up at the end, so you do get a bit of a linear plot by the end of the book, but mainly it's just sort of segments of strange goings-on featuring all of these characters. So, anyway, I think that sums it up fairly well. I hope you will, at the very least, go to the library and check out both of these books. You can start with either one. They're quite different from each other, both a great deal of fun. These are the two best books by Tim Dorsey that I've read so far. There's one other one called Hurricane Punch, which is also worth reading. Some of Dorsey's other books are more serious and not so much fun, so Triggerfish Twist and Orange Crush are my two top picks. I bought them at a thrift store. If you have a thrift store with a really good book rack, you might be able to find them for 99 cents each, as I did. You might also try a used bookstore if you're strapped for change, as I am sometimes. But they're definitely worth paying the full price for. But if you're not sure if you're going to like them, it's good to spend a bit less money, just in case, right? These books are not for everyone, but they are brilliant and amazingly creative and funny. So I do hope you get them and enjoy yourselves thoroughly. Thank you so much for watching this book review. I've had a good time making it, as you can tell. And good night to you all.